What is up, guys? AmusementDark here, and today I'm doing my review of Danganronpa 3, Mirai Hen episode 11, or future side, whatever you prefer. Anyway, this episode was goddamn amazing. You can't say it wasn't great. We find out who the mastermind is, like 89% for me at least, who the mastermind is, and we find out about the attacker system. And I want to slightly change how I do this review from the last one, see if it can cut down the time a bit, but it'll probably be around the same or a bit less. Anyway, let's get right into it with the opening scene. So it's a flashback scene where we initially see Naegi, Kirigiri, and the rest of the Danganronpa 1 survivors opening the door to Hope's Peak, and then we see Tengen, Great Gozu, for some reason he's there, I don't know why he's there, Chisa, Munakata, and Sakakura. And Tengen says that the door's open, and then, Chisa starts saying sorry to Munakata, she thought she investigated Junko enough, and then he's like, I won't tell you to forget about it, but it just proves that we were dealing with a monster. Chisa goes in for like an embrace or hug, and then like she's got her head on his chest, and then she does a smile. This personally to me proves that it's confirmed now basically that Chisa never got cured of her despair, and has always been a remnant of despair ever since episode, I think it was 9 of Mirai Hen, of Zetsubo Hen. It was 8 or 9 where she got turned into despair. Probably 9. But yeah, this was interesting. I think it confirms that. And then we also get shade on Tengen where he says the door has been opened, or the path has been opened. And then it cuts to the opening. Now the question here is I haven't seen the opening yet, because Hope Fansubs cuts it out on Mirai Hen's side, and that's the only subbed version. I need to go find a raw version, I think, because I need to see the opening and see if the survivor count has gone down or not. Because you might be like, wait, why would it go down? No one's died. Well, Juzo has died, but no one at the end of the episode though, so no one there shouldn't be any downs. It shouldn't be decreased. But here's the thing, I want to know, Juzo probably had to have cut his hand off before the episode start time, before the opening had happened. And what I want to know is, he wouldn't be counted as a contestant then, right? So the number should go down by 1. And if it hasn't, I feel like, if it hasn't on the final episode, then Kirigiri or someone is alive. It has to be. Because Sakakura is now definitely dead. We saw it with our own eyes. The only people left alive are whoever's the extra person in the building, who a lot of people are saying is Komaeda. Well, I think that's possible, but I'm not sure. It might just be the real Tengen who's in the building. Then there's Naegi, not Sakakura, Munakata, Asahina, and Ryoto. Now there's one person left. If it's gone down because Juzo has died, then there we go, problem sorted. If it hasn't though, because it depends when he cut his hand off to see about the so he, like, like if it's because if it is still 6, then Kirigiri still has a chance of survival. It's low, but it's possible. But I do believe it will be 5, and we'll find out whoever the final member, who we haven't met yet, is. Who's probably Tengen at this point. It's probably just the real Tengen. I doubt it's Komaeda at this point. But yeah, so the next important scene after is basically just Asahina giving Naegi the journal, Kirigiri's journal, and he's looking through it, and it's like, from all the injuries, and they were within reach, I have to say that all the deaths by the attacker were in fact suicides. And we find out that how the attacker system works is they get brainwashed into killing themselves. Now we find out the brainwashing part because what they do is Naegi gets Munakata, Ryota, and Asahina to tie him up by a bunch of monitors, and then they go to a room with no monitors in, or seemingly none. Naegi then wakes up, he then sees the attacker video, and we finally see Monokuma after such a long time. We got a little hint to the attacker video the first time it happened. We just heard the first line of it being like, oh, it's attacker time. And obviously, we've figured out at this point that Monokuma has to be animated. There's no one, like, controlling a robot version. Naegi was, like, is it a recording? Because obviously, he's probably used to Monokuma appearing and not being a recording, being a actual entity, other than, I guess, the morning announcements and that. And, yeah, Naegi finds that a little strange, but, you know, we then see the Monokuma theater, and this is how they get brainwashed. Like, the normal Monokuma theater music has been all distorted, and its colors have been inverted and shit. And then we see Naegi in this weird space-time place that I guess just is his mind, I guess, or some shit. And then behind him, Kirigiri appears, and she's like, Naegi-kun, you're still alive? And then he turns around to face Kirigiri, and then I got shivers, because we see Mizuno. Like, oh my god, Mizuno? Really? Mizuno is here? And, you know, she's like, Naegi-kun, I thought you said you were going to get me out of side of the school. And then, you know, the rest of the 77th class appears, and then, you know, Naegi is told by Kirigiri and Mizuno to kill himself, to join us, and, like, you're still alive. And then we see everyone in their death forms, and by death forms I mean the sort of state of their body after they died. What was, like, Mondo was was like some butter on the floor with his coat on top of it. Well, I found funny, honestly. I did have a little chuckle at that, just because I always found the butter thing funny. And then my favourite one, if that makes sense, was Celeste, just because it looked neat how she was on fire and shit, and just how she kind of looked. But no, yeah, Naegi, then we see him, like, pick up the knife that drops out from the monitor. He gets ready to kill himself, and then we see him the first time in Mirai Hen, we see the despair Rinnegan eyes, but they don't look the same like they do in Zetsubo Hen. Like, it's just the pupils, not the entire eye, like in Zetsubo Hen. And, you know, Naigi's just like, I'm coming soon, and we see it in his eyes, and I was just like, oh my god, at that point. Then, Juzo saves him, and, you know, Juzo is then explained to by Naegi that everyone gets brainwashed into killing themselves. And then Juzo kind of fucks off, but before he fucks off, he says why he hates Naegi, and it's very simple, like Juzo is. It's simply because Naegi beat Junko, like, he beat someone Juzo couldn't beat, Junko, and that made him mad, and, like, he was blackmailed and had to lie to Munakata and all this shit, and, you know, he's just like, this is all my fault. If I had told him the truth, none of this would have happened. He's cut off his hand, by the way, his left one with the bracelet on. That's how he was awake and able to stop Naegi from killing himself. But, no, you know, he fucks off, and, you know, Naigi's final words to him are like, Munakata was tricked into believing you had fallen into despair. And then, you know, he also asked Juzo to help him destroy all the monitors, and he was like, Do you know how many monitors there are, you fucking idiot? No, that's way too much wasting of our time. And that was interesting. But no, Juzo goes off to where the secret room was behind the Monokuma door. You know, whereas like the power switches and shit that we saw before. Because that's indeed the power room. But yeah, Naegi shows that, like, he destroys one of the monitors in front of Ryota, Asahino, and Munakata, and they're like, okay, that's gonna take a while to destroy them all. But can I just say, why has no one realized the game, like, they don't need to worry about the monitors, really? Because the game's over? Has no one realized this yet? Like, no one in both the community or in the show have realized the game's over. No one died during the attacking time. The rules state that if the attacker kills no one, like if no one's dead when everyone wakes up, the game is over. And that's what happened. Naegi, he was able to not kill himself, and because of that, he ended the game. The game is over. They don't need to worry about the monitors too much. I suppose if Tengen really wanted, he could just play the brainwashing on the monitor anyway, or continue the game, but that kind of ruins Monokuma completely to me, and I don't think they would do that, because while Monokuma no longer is being controlled by Junko, it would make sense. It still ruins Monokuma's character for me. But, yeah. So, after that, we, yeah. The power cuts out and the emergency lights come on. And then, you know, they're like, what? Why did the lights go off? And then, you know, Munakata realizes it was, Juzo, and what ends up happening is Naegi tells Munakata's like, I casted him aside and shit, and then he was like, yeah, but he still believes in you. These lights, these emergency lights that came on, prove that he still believes in you, and that he wants you to live. That sort of hope-filled speech. And then Munakata just starts walking off and then starts going into a run to the power room where, you know, Juzo is, you know, he's like, shit, you know, he just runs, and then it cuts to Juzo. He's been pulling the switches and he's like dying, and you can tell he's not having a good time with this. He's like pulling them all himself, and then he's like we see the wristbands come off, and it's just like, the wristbands? Everyone's just like, what the hell? And because of this, we might never find out what Ryoto's fucking NG code is. And you might be like, why does that matter so much? Because he's the only one we don't know the NG code to, and it just pisses me off. But yeah. So, you know, Munakata doesn't really take notice to the wristband coming off. He's just running after Juzo, and then Juzo goes for that last switch. He pulls it, and then Munakata gets to the room, sees the blood everywhere, and then he goes into the power room to see Juzo dead, with his arm still holding on to the lever that he just pulled down, and a smile on his face. And Munakata states, I'm sorry, I'm never on time, and that's about it. And then, you know, that's the ending. The very last things we see are of I forget if the bit where he's like, I'm sorry, is that the after credits bit, or if it's when it's like playing the credits, because in this episode they don't do the normal ending, they just play the music behind him running to Juzo. And yeah, so the after credits scene, sorry, I forgot to mention that. So we see the little flashback to when you know, Chisa and Munakata and Sakakura / Juzo take that picture together. You know, the one where they're in their like school uniform and just graduated from Hope's Peak. The one that Chisa had on her desk at the beginning of Zetsubo Hen. But yeah, that's the last we really see of Munakata. The after credits scene shows that a lot more people have arrived at the Future Foundation building, the tower, like from the Future Foundation, and are currently rescuing the people that got caught in the rubble from the tower that isn't underwater / underground. And we haven't seen what's up with Byakuya yet, but yeah, so I'm interested to see what the hell's up with him next episode, whether he's dead or alive or whatever. But no, the other thing we see is Ryota gets a message from Tengen on his phone. Now, a lot of people have been thinking that his phone has been broken the entire time. No, it hasn't. It doesn't seem like that. And a lot of people are like, this means Tengen is the mastermind. And I'm sitting there like, I mean, that's probably the case, but Ryota seems like he didn't know Tengen was alive. He thought he was dead, you know? So how I feel like it went is that Ryota didn't really help much in the plan, or at least didn't know the plan, because Tengen, if he is the mastermind, had probably planned to, you know, fake his death. I don't know, you know, he's probably planned that, but Ryota doesn't seem to understand how he's got a message from Tengen. And it's like because you can tell by the subtitles and how he sounds, he's like questioning how the fuck he's got this message. And so, I feel like this might be a plan to get everyone to feel suspicious of Ryota. Maybe? I'm not really sure. But, yeah. That's, literally it. Theories for the final episode of Mirai Hen? Nothing really. I mean, we're actually on the final episodes of everything now. Like, by this time next week, Danganronpa 3 will be completely over, other than whatever the last episode of Zetsubo Hen will be, what we've been told is just a special, like, episode. So it could be like an OVA of DR3, like, V3, or it could be, like, something to do with the Jabberwock kids, though I feel like we are gonna see them in the last episode of Mirai Hen, rather than, Zetsubo Hen. I mean, you know, Zetsubo Hen's final episode that's related to this main story is this week, and then we only have one more Mirai Hen episode, and then an OVA type episode as our final episode. What could be anything, really. But yeah, that's it, guys. There's not much for me to say other than I think I might have said that my theory was that I'll repeat it. So my theory on the attackers was that two people wake up and they are brainwashed or drugged into in a way like where they end up killing one, or one dies and the other lives because the one that lives killed them, or something like that. I mean, I was right a little bit on the attackers bit with how you know, they're brainwashed. But no, that's I came up with that bit, the brainwashing bit, when we found out about Ryota, like, using brainwashing techniques in his anime. Like, I was like, okay, he's met Junko at this point. Junko's gonna use him. So maybe whoever the mastermind is, if they're probably related to Junko's plan that she made. for ultimate despair to last forever or whatever. But that was about it. I wasn't expecting it to be they got brainwashed into killing themselves, but that makes a lot of sense now that I think about it. Now, like I said, I'm pissed off that no one seems to have realized that the game is over. But the game was over from the moment Juzo stopped Naegi from killing himself and got him out of the despair eyes. You know, like, once that happened, I was like, okay, the game's over now. The game is actually over. There's no way that, like, they're done. This is it. They just have to find the mastermind and either arrest him or kill him or whatever. It's the end. This is the end of Danganronpa 3. This is the end to everything all the games have been building up to, and everything until now has been building up to, guys. The grand finale is coming out in less than a week. I hope you guys are prepared for this, because I know I'm not. But yeah, guys, this episode, 10 out of 10. Just amazing, again. And if you haven't subscribed, smash that like button like Mikan's ass, or Chiaki, or whoever your favorite Danganronpa waifu is. I can't believe I just said that. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. I'm signing out. Peace.